This boy has been in high school for over 80 years. The graduation cap is hanging on the wall. Is it because he never got into college? No, it's because he's always been 17 years old. He and his family had to move every few years so that no one would find out. This life has been going on for 100 years. No one knew the secret behind him until this girl came along. Her name is Bella. When her mother remarried, she came to school in the town where her father lived. Because of her good looks, she became the talk of the school on the first day of school. Boys came up to her, but Bella didn't care. Her eyes were drawn to some guys outside the window. They looked mysterious and all had pretty faces, especially this guy. His name was Edward, and he was the man of the hour for all the girls. But he only hangs out with his family, never with anyone else. In the first biology class, Bella happened to be assigned to the same table as Edward. But as soon as he saw Bella, Edward covered his nose. He seemed to be disgusted by Bella's smell. Seeing Edward's reaction, Bella sniffed her nose suspiciously. But what's even more exaggerated is that Edward ran out of the classroom early, as if he couldn't stand it. He even went to the teacher to transfer the class. This series of his behavior made Bella begin to doubt life. The next day Bella planned to go to Edward to ask him why he was so disgusted with her. Unfortunately, Edward never came to school again. Just when Bella was confused, Edward suddenly appeared again, and he changed his previous indifference and warmly talked with Bella. He also apologized for his rudeness last time. This sudden change made Bella a bit confused, and she really didn't understand this person in front of her. But they had a good conversation until Bella asked why Edward's eyes had changed color. He gave a few casual remarks and left in a hurry. After school, they looked at each other from afar and thought. Suddenly a runaway car ran straight into Bella. In the nick of time, Edward appeared in the distance and pushed the car away with one hand. Bella was stunned by the scene before her eyes. This is outrageous, right? But before she could say anything, Edward took the opportunity to leave quickly. Then the students found out and rushed Bella to the hospital. Fortunately, Bella was not hurt, but the shocking scene began to recur in her mind. She found Edward and asked him how he had managed to. She asked Edward how he managed to get to her so quickly, but Edward denied it, saying that he was right next to her and pushed the car out of the way. Bella must have been frightened and had a nervous breakdown, but Bella was convinced of what she saw. Edward was right across the parking lot. From that day on, every time they met, Bella would ask about it, but Edward always avoided the topic and kept his distance from Bella. One night, Bella was harassed by some punks. When she was in a desperate situation, Edward suddenly drove up. With a single look, he scared them off. Then he took Bella and left quickly. Bella asked him if he was following her. Why else would he show up so soon?
I feel very protective of you. I was trying to keep a distance unless you needed my help, and then I heard what those lowlifes were thinking. I don't have the strength to stay away from you anymore. I don't.
They had fallen in love with each other. On the way back, Bella accidentally touched Edward's hand and noticed that his body temperature was unusually cold. When she was confused, her father's police car appeared on the roadside. It turned out that Dad's best friend had been killed. He suspected that he had been attacked by wild animals. This was the second similar case in town. Bella consoled her dad and prepared to go home. But when the body was lifted from Bella's face, a series of images suddenly flashed through Bella's mind. She felt very uneasy. Back home, Bella checked her files. She put all the clues together. The white skin, the discolored eyes, the incredible speed, the strength, the cold body. Could Edward be the legendary vampire? Bella couldn't believe that she was in love with a vampire. So she got up the courage to ask Edward for proof. She told him all her reasoning. Edward didn't have to hide anything anymore. He admitted that he was a vampire. Then he showed Bella his true self. He picked Bella up on his back and raced to the top of the mountain like the wind. This is the true speed of a vampire. When he stood in the sunlight, his skin immediately glowed like a diamond. That's why they don't come to school when it's sunny. He also told Bella that their family is vegetarian and feeds on animal blood. They had enough self-control to keep their desire for human blood at bay, until Bella came along.
Your scent, it's like a drug to me. I've never wanted a human's blood so much in my life.
What Edward didn't expect after all this was that Bella wasn't afraid of who he was and was convinced he wouldn't hurt her. What she was afraid of was losing Edward, that he would disappear again. After confirming their feelings for each other, they started to pair up. The students were amazed. Edward told his story to Bella. At the age of 17, Edward almost died of Spanish flu. Carlisle had no choice but to convert him. Then came his mother, Amy. They were both adopted children of their father. Over the years, they had become the closest thing to family. Edward decided to formally introduce Bella to them. The next day Bella arrived at Edward's house. She thought the vampire's home would be as eerie as the legends say, with an old castle and coffins. Instead, it was a simple, bright, modern house. The inside was also decorated with modern decor. The walls were covered with high school graduation caps. At 17 years old, they've graduated more times than they know. Edward's family is very warm and welcoming. They had never eaten human food, but they even cooked Italian food for Bella. After meeting them officially, Edward took Bella to his room. Surprisingly, there was no bed here. Edward explained that it was because they never slept. Then they went to the forest behind the villa. Edward climbed up to the end of a tree and planted in the sky. From this viewpoint, Bella got her first glimpse of the Wonderland. In the days that followed, Edward played the piano for Bella, talked with her all night long, and slept with her. He expressed his love all the time. One day Edward wanted Bella to see how vampires play baseball. So the family invited Bella to be the umpire. While everyone is having fun, Alice, who has the power of prophecy, senses that an alien vampire is approaching them. She calls for a stop, and the family quickly surrounds Bella, who is a human, in the middle. Because for the human bloodsuckers, Bella was a feast. And these three vampires are the ones who attacked the humans before. When they saw the family of vampires, they wanted to join the competition and fight with them. But the moment Bella turned around, one of the three, James, smelled her human scent and instantly showed his aggression. The family immediately put Bella behind them, saying that this human was their family. After a tense confrontation, the black man said he did not want to be their enemy. He advised his two partners to leave quickly. But Edward, a mind reader, sensed that Sumeru would never let her go. He is a master tracker, vicious and loves excitement. The family's reaction just now had clearly irritated him. The only way to get rid of James was for them to kill him first, or he would never stop. They're going to split up in three. Because James was willing to go thinking that Edward would be with Bella. So they're going the other way. Alice and her boyfriend would take Bella out of town. Edward and his siblings would dress up in Bella's clothes and run in the opposite direction to distract Sumeru. The two parents returned to Bella's house to protect her father. After the operation started, James did go after Edward's direction, but he soon realized that he had been trapped and stopped pursuing him. Then Alice foresaw that James would go to a room full of mirrors. Bella guessed from her description that it was her childhood ballet class. At the same time, Edward sensed that James had figured out their plan. He called Bella and told her he was going to pick her up. Bella rushes to pack her things. That's when her mother called. But before she can say a word, James' voice comes on the other end. He told Bella to come to the ballet class alone if she wanted her mom to live. So Bella dodged Alice and the two of them and went to James without a second thought. But when she got to the classroom, she realized that her mother was not here. James used her mother's voice in the video to trick her into coming here. But by now James was already behind Bella. Bella used the pepper spray her father gave her and sprayed James in the face. James was enraged and threw Bella to the ground. Then he broke her leg. Just then, Edward suddenly appeared and fought with James. Edward was fast, but not as strong as James. He was soon knocked to the ground. James looked at Edward provocatively and then bit Bella. The furious Edward struck a blow that temporarily disabled James. At that moment, the others arrived, subdued James, and threw Sumeru into the fire. Bella, bitten by the vampire, hissed in pain. If they didn't want Bella to turn into a vampire, they had to suck out the venom. But for vampires, once they've tasted human blood, it's almost impossible to suppress their desire. But looking at the painful Bella, Edward sucked it up. But this sucking really cannot stop.
Edward, stop. The blood is clean, you're killing her. Rose! Edward.
Gradually, Bella's eyes blurred, and she lost consciousness. When she woke up again, she was in the hospital. She didn't die, and she didn't become a vampire. In the end, Edward was able to control himself through sheer determination. After she recovered, the two of them went to the school dance. They danced romantically. At that moment, all they could see was each other. So they didn't even notice that there was someone watching them from upstairs. And that person is Victoria, James' girlfriend. She's out for revenge. What will be the result?